If my old job called me today and offered me my job back, would I take it? The answer is no. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still some things that I miss about the job. What's up, family? I am currently at work, but I am on a break right now. And in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with y'all some things that I miss about my job. And some things. It's been over a year, y'all, since I quit my 9-to-5 job. And despite what some people might think, it's actually some things that I do miss about the job. But it's a lot more things that I don't miss about the job, and that's exactly why I'll never go back. So we're gonna start with the good news, and then I'm gonna give y'all the bad news. So let's start off with the things that I do miss about the job. So number one, of course, it's the predictable income. At my old job, I was working at Jimmy John's, y'all. I was a general manager. For those of y'all that don't know, I was a general manager for Jimmy John's, and I was offered the opportunity to be part owner. So pretty much third owner. So it would have been me and two other owners. However, one of the owners was looking to retire, and he was going to give over his part of the business to me. So pretty much I was going to buy him out over time. But he was just going to give it to me for free. You know, he just gave me the opportunity for free. No money down, nothing. So it was a huge opportunity, y'all. And like how much I was getting paid? I was getting paid $20 an hour. I asked for, before I left the job, I was actually asking for a raise and they was denying me. But nonetheless, I was making $20 an hour, 40 hours a week minimum, right? So that's a $1,600 check every 2 weeks. However, I was making more than that because I was always putting in overtime, right? So that was pretty good money. The second thing I miss about my 9-to-5 job is not depending on my car as much. So of course I would drive back and forth to work, but before I even had a car, I was making my way back and forth to work. So whether that be public transportation on the metro or catching Lyft and Uber back and forth to work, which the Lyft and Uber was definitely digging in my pockets, and I definitely hated catching the metro. Having a car was a good thing. However, I didn't have to rely on it as much, you know? Pretty much my commute was like optional. You know, if I didn't want to drive to work one day, I ain't have to. I could choose how I get to work. The third thing I miss about my 9-to-5 job is the sense of progress. So like climbing the ladder. Y'all get what I'm saying? I started my job, when I first started working for Jimmy John's, y'all, I was a regular sandwich maker. And then it went from a regular sandwich maker to a delivery driver. And I was doing that on a bike. So I started doing deliveries 10 years ago. So I have 10 years worth of delivery experience. And it all started with Jimmy John's. And so from that delivery driver, I became a sampler ambassador. Well, pretty much like a brand ambassador, which is I was doing guerrilla marketing and doing samples. So pretty much I would go out and promote the business to all the neighboring businesses that we delivered to. And then I went from that to a manager, well, a person in charge, right? You know what I'm saying? Baby steps. Then I went from person in charge to assistant manager. Then I went from assistant manager to general manager. Then I was gonna go from general manager to owner, right? So the sense of progress, I definitely missed that. Being able to track your progress and just see how far you've come and being appreciated for your skills. You feel me? I definitely missed that. Which brings me to number 4, which is I miss feeling needed, y'all. As much as I would complain about it, y'all, I definitely enjoyed being the hero. You know what I'm saying? I definitely enjoyed stepping in, stepping up, and being the person that everybody could count on. It's just that over time, that started to kind of wear on me. But we're not talking about the bad right now. We're talking about the good. So I can admit, I definitely miss feeling needed. And so my 5th thing that I miss about my 9-to-5 job is being social and being around people. Like, y'all, my communication skills is like, I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. Being able to turn someone's frown upside down. You know, being able to just pretty much make somebody's day. I do that with this job as well. However, we sticking to Jimmy John's right now. A lot of times people would always compliment me on my people skills. I'm one of those super friendly people. And I didn't necessarily need to make friends because that's one thing I try to avoid in the workplace was making friends, because that's not what I was there for. It's just the social interaction used to fill my cup, y'all. I'm just a very social person, and being around other people like my coworkers and all the customers that would come in, the regular customers, it was just definitely an experience that I do miss. And so my sixth thing that I miss about the job, and this is the very last thing, I miss the structure. I miss getting clarity from my bosses that knew a lot more than I did. Like, I miss not being the smartest person in the room. My bosses, and I had two of them, having that dynamic was a blessing, because they had two different personalities. So while one boss was very, very strict, the other boss was pretty lenient. But they both like made a huge impact in my life. I would gain so much wisdom from these two guys because, you know, they've been in the game for a very long time. So a lot of wisdom that I got from them, y'all. I learned how to avoid mistakes before making them. And when I did make a mistake, you know, they never gave up on me. They always gave me another chance. It's me who gave up on them, if I'm being real. They really helped groom me into a strong businesswoman, though. A lot of tools I got from their toolbox. And so, you know, I'm definitely grateful for the influence that they had in my life and the structure that they instilled in me. I miss when they would give me a task and I would execute it. And that goes into, you know, the structure that I'm referring to. It's like each month or each quarter, they would set a new goal for me. Just the thrill of chasing those goals definitely gave me a sense of motivation, a sense of purpose, should I say. Now we get into the nitty gritty, because Jimmy John's was not all sunshine and rainbows. I'm about to get into the things that I don't miss about the job. Number one, and this relates to number one about things that I do miss, but number one is I don't put a cap on the amount of money I make. Since I was making a minimum $1,600 every 2 weeks, I can make that same amount of money in 1 week during these gig apps. And that's real talk. If y'all don't believe me, look, I'm not the only gig worker, DoorDasher, Instacarter, whatever you want to call it. I'm not the only person out here that use this as a full-time job. Y'all can look up other creators that do this type of work, and you'll see the proof is definitely in the pudding. With Jimmy John's, you feel what I'm saying? I had to go home eventually at some point in time. But doing DoorDash, I be having so much fun. It's like, I just want to keep running up the bag. I don't go home until I make the amount of money that I want to make. You feel what I'm saying? I make my own cap. And so moving on to number two, Jimmy John's did not offer me or anybody else no benefits. And this isn't just all Jimmy John's. This is just the place that I worked at. Jimmy John's that I worked at. And so as y'all watching this video, don't think that I'm making a comparison to all jobs. You feel what I'm saying? Like all 9-to-5 jobs. No, I'm specifically talking about the 9-to-5 job that I left. My job, my experience. So, you know, this gonna be different for everybody else. My experience is different from everybody else's. So like I was saying, the store that I was working in, they did not offer us no benefits, no 401k, no health insurance, no dental, no car insurance even. They didn't even offer the delivery drivers car insurance. I was just working. I was just straight working, building somebody else's business, and I really had to do everything on my own. So the third thing that I don't miss about my old job is the coworkers was annoying, y'all. Like, for one, we didn't do background checks. We had a very, very high turnover rate, because the type of people that would apply for this job, and I don't mean to be rude to anybody that I used to work with, but majority of these people were like either criminals, reformed criminals, or people that's like trying to get their life back on track, or people with very predatory motives. And also school kids and people that didn't have a lot or any work experience. I provided a lot of people their first job. I provided a lot of people, you know, with their first real experience in the workplace. And so, you know, they were very inexperienced. They were very, I ain't gonna say hard to work with, but y'all can just imagine the environment. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's like they would come, work a little bit, use me for a check, and they would just dip. every time I would get a good employee, I'm talking about a really good worker, they would always quit on me. Truly, I believe it's because they knew their worth. And I'm not mad at that at all. Because, hey, you see me now. All right, so the fourth thing that I don't miss about my 9-to-5 job is carrying work home with me. Y'all, it's like I couldn't get away from that place. And being as though that I was a general manager trying to transition into a businesswoman, like a full-blown owner, they expected so much out of me, y'all. And they was like, this is what it takes. This is what it takes to be, this is what it takes to be the boss. You know, this is the cost to be the boss. You got to dedicate overtime. You got to work harder than everybody else. You got to, you know, that's why we paying you the big bucks. And they will always say that. That's why we pay you the big bucks. We want you to be able to take this business to the next level, like to the point where they would want me to leave work and go to restaurants and scout out more employees, like scout out new talent. They would want me to go home and take all this paperwork with me. Like, I had to do a lot of operations from home, you know, a lot of working at home on my laptop, still managing operations, still managing finances, still managing payroll, still putting new employees in the system. Like, y'all, it was a lot. And they literally delegated all the duty to me because I work with absentee owners. So they were rarely ever at the store. They were rarely ever there to give me any assistance. They were just mostly over the phone. I would have most of the communications with my bosses over the phone. And only really interacted with one of my bosses, and he would come in. He worked for the government. He worked for the Pentagon. So he was a busy man. And it's like all the responsibility was on me. And it was so much of a workload that I couldn't get it all done at work. I had to take it home with me as well. And y'all, that literally consumed my life. That's really one of the things that put such a strain on my mental health, because it's like, when am I ever going to get to just be Jordan? I'm always the manager. I'm always the boss. When am I just going to be able to tap into me? And so I definitely don't miss that. And number 5 on the list that I don't miss about the job is the broken equipment. I'm talking about like all the time. The equipment would break all the time. It was always something new because the store was very old. They bought the store as is and they didn't really refurbish a lot of the stuff in there. So a lot of the stuff, the life expectancy on most of the products in there was just like, things was always going wrong. From the phones, from the POS system, the credit card swipers, the ovens, the freezer, the cold table. I'm talking about anything you need to operate this business, it will break. It will malfunction. And so that makes the job harder to do. Then I would have to wait for my boss to come whenever he got a chance to get away from the Pentagon or get away from his family duties. Whenever he got a chance to get away from that is when we would get our stuff repaired. Or I would have to spend the money from, I would have to spend the store money to get the stuff fixed. And those things come out of your bonus. Those things coming out of the overall profit of the store. So it's like really making it hard for you to do your job efficiently and be proficient at your duties as a manager. So boom. The 6th thing that I don't miss is needing permission to live my own life. I'm talking about a day off was almost impossible to get. Like, I sacrificed so much of my life just for the duty, just for responsibility. It was always duty first. It was just like me taking time off was a liability to the restaurant. I was just stuck in that cycle, y'all. I'm just so glad I was able to break free from that. Now, I'm living my life the way I want to live it. Living it on my own terms. That brings me to number 7. I don't miss being stuck in one building. Being stuck in one spot, not being able to really leave for real. With this DoorDash, y'all already know. See, I go in the stores and I be seeing them employees at their jobs, they be so miserable. They be so miserable at the grocery store or, or wherever place they working at. Y'all, they will be so miserable. And you wanna know something that I hear every day from these workers? Man, I can't wait to go home. That's one. Man, what time is it? That's 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait to go home. Knew my last customer say, I'm about to get up out of here. I've been here all day. That's another one. And so the beauty of my job is I get to come in there, spend 20, 30 minutes, and I get to leave. Maybe an hour if I'm doing the large shop. And then I get to leave. I get to get up out of there. Definitely don't like being stuck in one building, one place for a long time. I like going to new stores. I'll be finding out so many new restaurants while I'm dashing, finding out so many new places, and it's like I get to explore. And I love that about my job. So boom, number 8. The 8th thing that I don't miss about my old job is the gossip, y'all, and the problem starters. It's like people came to work and just treated it like a recreation center. Everything was always fun and games to them. Or they always want to talk about what they do outside of work at work. Like as if that's benefiting, or like as if that's helping them be better at their job or something. All that's doing is creating problems, creating distractions, making messes that I gotta clean up. Y'all, man, I should probably start doing story time about the things that used to occur at my old job, y'all. The types of conversations that I used to hear these people talk about, and then just all the drama. I don't see why people bring all that stuff to work, but that's something that I definitely had to deal with. See, me, I'm the type person, I hate drama. It's like, it make my skin itch. It's a pet peeve for me. I cannot stand drama and low vibrational energy. And it's just like, it seemed like some people came to work just to be in a bunch of drama, just to be in the mess, or just to create drama. I don't know, y'all. I'm just glad I don't gotta deal with that no more. All right, so number 9 on the list is I don't miss making somebody else rich. So the name of our company, the LLC that it was named, the LLC that it was under was called, I don't want to put them on blast, but it was pretty much named after the daughter of one of the owners. So, and then what made it even worse was the daughter didn't even want to work at Jimmy John's. She didn't even want to contribute to the business, although it was named after her. It's like we needed help in there. You know what I'm saying? And she was, when I first started working there, she was a teenager. And so definitely of age, definitely old enough to work. But I would always ask, like, you know, your daughter don't want to work here? He's like, hell no, you know? She got her own thing that she's working on. She got her own future. She got her own pursuits that she want to go after. And I'm like, dang, I got my own pursuits I want to go after too. But yet, I'm sitting here working for you and her. That's not adding up. Like, I literally can't even do almost nothing. Like, I can't even almost, like, it was so over-consuming, y'all. And if y'all go back to my old videos, y'all can see how stressed out I was at the job. It's like I had no life outside of this. I couldn't even work on my hobbies. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating every day. I wasn't doing anything that I like to do. I wasn't going out to the go-go, going out to the club. I wasn't DJing, y'all. I had my own business. I was my own entrepreneur. I used to DJ and make music. I was a musical artist at the time, and I couldn't even dedicate time to my own talents. And so knowing that all my hours spent are going towards someone else's dream and someone else's pockets and someone else's future, it just made me like want to do my own thing, want to bet on myself and just work towards what I really want to do. Boom. The next thing on the list, and I think this is number 10, is I don't miss coming in to fix other people's mistakes. I did have managers. I had about 2 or 3. One of the managers was there for a very long time. He done seen plenty of general managers leave, come. He done seen plenty of general managers come and go. But he was not manager material. He was just more like the store opener. He was more so, okay, I can depend on you to make sure everything is prepped and things like that. He was kind of like a prep manager. But as far as managing staff and managing a shift, it's like he pretty much refused to do it. The other two managers, and these are the only managers that I was really able to maintain and keep for a long time, which was my family members. At the time, my girlfriend and my brother-in-law. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all, my brother-in-law was one of the most incompetent individuals that I could have ever gave a job to. It was always a problem, y'all. Something was always going wrong on his shift, and I would always have to come in and clean it up. And my girlfriend, it's like we live together. Most of the time, I'm dropping her off and picking her up from work. And it's like, if I'm there, I might as well contribute. And she was really my assistant manager. So anything pertaining to her job was pertaining to me. So really her only job was to assist me, not necessarily take over for me, if that makes sense. So it was like I was the top dog, y'all, the number one soldier in there. I'm grateful for everything that they did for me and everything that they tried to do for me. But it just didn't work out. It just never worked out. I was just always Mr. Fix-It, Mrs. Fix-It, whatever. All right, so I'm getting down to the last two things, y'all. Number 11 is I would miss a lot of important moments. Events that I couldn't go to, family that I couldn't spend time with, people around me growing up. I'm missing parts of their life. I get invited somewhere, I can't go because I gotta work. My loved ones want me to do something for them, I can't do it because I gotta work, or because I'm tired from work. Work. So, luckily I don't got no kids, but if I did, I would probably been missing a lot of important moments in their life, for sure. So we down to the last thing on the list, y'all, which is number 12. And that is, I only had a life on my off days. And like I told y'all, those off days were very limited. Even if I did have an off day, I'm being called, or I gotta watch the cameras because I don't trust the management in there. So it's like I always had one foot in and one foot out, Whatever I wanted to do, I could only do it when I'm off. And that was very rare. So, it came to the point where on my off days, I just spent that time relaxing. Just trying to get some zen. Just trying to reflect. And just get a peace of mind. It's like I couldn't even get comfortable, for real. Like, don't think it's sweet. Do not think it's sweet. Because you get too comfortable. Y'all, I was planning a vacation, right? On my off day. It was my whole birthday one time, y'all. Why my brother-in-law called me talking about something, he done locked himself out the store. He went to the trash room and he done locked himself out the store. He's stuck in the trash room. Or they stuck outside. Do you know I had to drive all the way to the store and assess that situation? I told him, I said, what if I was on vacation? What if I wanted to take a vacation? What if I wasn't here? What you would have done? Mind you, you called me. You ain't called the owner, because you ain't want the owner to blast your ass out. You called me because you knew that I was going to show up, and you knew that I was almost obligated to assess the situation. I say I only had a life on my off days, but those off days really wasn't much to be excited about. So yeah, y'all, those are the things that I miss and don't miss about my 9-to-5 job. So yeah, to put it in the full scope, I don't think a 9-to-5 is bad. And I don't think gig work is perfect. They both come with sacrifices. The question is, what sacrifices are you willing to make to live the life that you want? Working at 9-to-5 definitely taught me a lot about responsibility, leadership, and hard work. But it also taught me a lot about myself, what I am and what I'm not willing to tolerate in order to maintain my well-being. Because at the end of the day, it's about me. It ain't about nobody else. I want y'all to drop in the comments, tell me what y'all like and dislike about y'all job if y'all work a 9-to-5. And if you don't work a 9-to-5, tell me some of the things that y'all miss and that y'all don't miss about y'all 9-to-5 job. And to throw in a bonus topic, I want to hear what's one job that you'll never go back to, or what's one job that you will never work. If y'all made it to the end of this video, I appreciate y'all. Y'all gotta subscribe to the channel if you're not already, okay? Make sure you hit this video with a like. And as always, you guys, I appreciate y'all for staying tapped in. I'll see y'all in the next video.